Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Every fortnight we're going to be speaking to the Honourable Nathan Guy, MP for Otaki. Now he's got a little bit more time on his hands, not a great deal, he's very busy, but nice to welcome him back this morning. Good morning, Nathan.
Morning, Nigel. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I thought you'd be up the north part of the district to tell me what the weather is like, and you just walked out of our mayor's office and into the shower down there.
Very warm rain. We could do with a drop.
Yes. How's the farms looking up in the north part of the district and the garden around the place as well?
Oh, that was a welcome rain that we had last week, about 70 mils over 48 hours or so. And I guess it's filled up a lot of rainwater tanks as well for those people that rely on rainwater. It's been good for the farm and the vegetable growers in the Horifana and Kapiti.
Right.
We still need a lot more. What's happened is the ground has cracked a lot over the summer. It's been such a prolonged dry period. And looks like we're just quietly moving into early autumn, which is going to be quite a relief.
Good as gold. Well, it was a shock to some people, but I didn't feel as though it was a shock to me when the Bill English decided to step down. I always felt that he would be doing that within about 3 months of the Christmas break, and he's done it. Was it a shock to you, or were you well aware of his intentions?
It wasn't a big shock to me. I felt that he was unlikely to hang around and lead us into the 2020 election campaign. So he obviously had the time to reflect over the summer with his family. 27 years has been an amazing career, and to have led our political party to almost victory in the 2017 campaign, I mean, he needs to be acknowledged for running a fantastic campaign. Nearly 1 out of every 2 people in the country voted for National, but obviously Winston Peters decided otherwise in terms of the formation of the government.
He was a great value for our Horifana Kapiti residents, wasn't he?
He was a strong supporter of our region. He had some family up here, so he was often visiting informally or even formally. I had him up several times, and he helped ensure we got the funding for the Otech Expressway as Finance Minister, and also Transmission Gully. And we're all reaping the benefits, particularly of the Otech Expressway now. He was also very focused on social services. He knew that there was a huge amount of money going into those people in hardship in Kapiti and Horifana, and indeed across the country, and that's why he came out with better public services and investment model that measured and monitored everything, so we could actually try and work on the fact that instead of 5 different government department cars going up one family's driveway, why not let's centralise that information and share it and make sure we just have one car working with these families and try and invest that money more wisely to turn lives around of those that find themselves in really difficult situations in our society. The new government, while they talk about being inclusive and transparent and open, they're getting rid of all of our targets, so we just don't know what the public service are now going to deliver. Now,
Mr. English, he was a very astute finance manager, and of course he got us through what you might say difficult times back in the 2010s, 2011s, and with earthquakes and so forth.
Yes, that's right. We had the big Christchurch earthquakes and Kaikoura one as well, and it's great to hear today that as I was driving in, they had tourism operators saying that things have turned around this summer in Kaikoura, and that's fantastic. We also had the global financial crisis,
yes,
and that was a big issue for our country, and Bill English ensured that we borrowed enough money so that we could support the most vulnerable in our society, which was really important, and also we sped up infrastructure project, which allowed jobs to be created and a bit of a stimulus as well. So he is seen as one of the most effective finance ministers in the world, and he did a great job as Prime Minister when Sir John Key stepped down as well. So he'll be sadly missed in our party with a very long and distinguished career, and now we move into the next stage of working out who's going to lead us into 2020 and beyond.
You're not putting your name forward for that job, I hear.
You've heard that correctly.
Yeah, right.
I'll be supporting the candidates that let me start that again. I'll be supporting our candidate that can unify our caucus, because these processes can be a bit bruising with aspirations and political careers coming to the fore in it. And the most important thing with this vote will be getting around our new leader, whoever that might be. We've got 3 that are spending at the moment. I've worked very closely with Simon Bridges, Amy Adams and Judith Collins in Cabinet. They've all got a huge amount of integrity and skill sets, and they'll bring a certain amount of energy and drive to the role if they are successful. And there may indeed be one or two others that decide to step up over the weekend or early next week. And it'll just be about focusing on not ourselves, but who is going to be the person that can deliver for New Zealand. And I guess also challenge the priorities of the government, which appear to be spending recklessly and an economy that is looking likely that it will slow a bit. Interest rates look potentially as though they're going to go up, and that will affect mortgage rates and then start to bite family income. So early days, let's wait and see. The vote is in Tuesday week, so I look forward to supporting one of those candidates that I think is going to best fit the job that I see we have to do into the campaign of 2020.
Within the National Party, I mean, it seems though they've got their own thoughts on who should be the leader. Do you think that's going to split them up a wee bit, or do you think it's going to take a bit of settling down once you do appoint a new leader?
Well, there's all sorts of views. The 56 in caucus decide, unlike the Labour Party and the Greens, who actually go out and do a roadshow and their membership gets a big vote, and in the Labour situation, that's typically the trade unions get the power. So in our case, it is a caucus vote. We'll all be taking soundings from our party membership, and the good thing is that it's sort of AGM season at the moment, so there's a lot of branch AGMs for MPs to turn up to, so they'll be getting good soundings from their membership in their own communities. But ultimately it's about deciding in caucus who the best fit is and who we want to get behind and rally and drive policies for 2020. And like you say, there'll be some jostling, there may be some deals done. We'll just wait and see what happens.
Do you think there might be one or two others who might be thinking of retiring if they don't get who they want to get into as the leader of the party?
Well, rejuvenation is always a big factor in a political party, and while we hope that we would form government, some probably thought, yep, this might be their last term regardless. So those on the list might be reflecting and thinking perhaps this year might be the time to move out, or next year. I'm just not sure, but I'm sure we will see over this term some that choose to retire. Not many, but a handful.
Now, getting on to a local issue, and one that you're going to be holding a public meeting, I think in early March, is the Otech Expressway, the O2NL. Now, we don't know, I mean, they're doing a lot of talking at the moment and meeting with the public, the NZTA, but has the government committed itself to putting in this road or not?
Well, that's the biggest challenge back to the new government, is they're having a bit of a talk fest now, and I invited the Transport Minister up to my public meeting. He's, politely declined, saying I don't get involved in that stuff. And we think back to when Stephen Joyce and NZTA made the decision to put the road on the existing alignment here. Minister Joyce is the Transport Minister. He turned up to 4 public meetings that I organised, so I'm disappointed that Phil Twyford doesn't seem to care about our community. And the fear that I also have is that they might just decide that they've got other spending priorities. This is this project here, 25 kilometres long, 700 million to potentially $1 billion, the more expensive options. And when you think about the new government handing out money for fees free for tertiary students or Auckland Rail, I mean, their budget is so tight that I have a fear that they will have the talk fest, go back into Wellington and decide it's just too hard and not fund it. And my challenge back to them, and I'll be saying this at the public meeting, the bare minimum they need to do is designate and consent. And then we know in the future where the proposed route will go. Right now, the community is in a state of flux. There's lines drawn over personal properties up and down the district. Real estate sales are just paralysed. They've all but stopped. And so the community needs certainty. They need to get on once they decide and purchase these properties that are going to be directly impacted, so that people can then be remunerated appropriately and move on with their lives.
So this meeting, you're going to have a public meeting early March up in Titakari, is it? I think, Nathan, is it?
That's right.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to be able to convince the Transport Minister, Mr Twyford, to get on with the job and say, yes, we're going to do it?
Well, his officials will be there from the agency, and they're leading the project, so I'll be making all of the statements that I've just made to you and your listeners today back at that meeting. But what I want to use the meeting as an opportunity for is just decent information flow. What I'm hearing from anyone that is directly or indirectly impacted by these routes on the eastern side of Horowhenua, they're saying, why on earth hasn't it gone west? And so the community's coming to me and saying, why haven't they explored the western option? And I think they have. Well, in fact, I know they have. So they need to stand up and say, well, this is the reasoning as to why we're not going west. And at the moment, that looks a bit cloudy.
So it looks like we need to have a good turnout at that meeting. What's it? Is it Thursday the 1st of March or somewhere there?
That's it. Thursday, 1st of March, 7 p.m. at Otaki in Levin.
Good on you. All right, Nathan, well, thank you very much for your time this morning. We'll have a chat again in a fortnight.
Look forward to it.
106.3 Beach FM.